I also love when we give a shout out to our friends over at HelloFresh. You guys want delicious food delivered straight to your door? HelloFresh is going to hook you up with that because the holiday season is just around the corner and we've got so many different things on our plate. Let HelloFresh take care of the meal planning for you with their hassle-free, delicious, home-delivered, chef-curated recipes that come together quicker and are less expensive than takeout. Step out of your recipe rut and make fun, flavorful meals without needing to hunt for special ingredients. That's what HelloFresh is going to do for you. I love HelloFresh. It's sent right to you, and it's super easy, really convenient, and also just absolutely delicious. So get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free Broncos. That's applied across 7 boxes, new subscribers only, and varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals just by going to HelloFresh.com/free Broncos. It's also, make sure to check them out. Use that code free Broncos over at HelloFresh.com/free Broncos, America's #1 meal kit.
Also, check out Empire today if you need some new floors, because floors are important. I mean, think of all the time that you spend on floors. Like, it's
a lot.
A lot. Yeah, I mean, hours a day. So you don't want to have bad floors. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Are we on a floor right now?
That's what I was trying to decide.
I mean, our feet are on floors.
Yeah.
And there's a rug.
Well, both, but it's on a floor.
Okay, still, you don't want a floor that's going to get scratched by the chairs or the rugs or whatever else. That's just one of the many reasons floors are so important. If you need floors, then you should check out Empire today. They've got a bunch of cool tools, like their virtual floor designer, so that you can basically, it's like show it what your room looks like or your home looks like. It'll just sub in all the different floors so you can see what it looks like. Plus, you can schedule a free in-home estimate. All you have to do is go to empiretoday.com/DNVR. Again, you'll use that promo code DNVR. You'll receive a $350 off discount on top of that free in-home estimate. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DNVR for details.
And shout out to our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. Okay, fellas, some news. Speaking of special teams, a lot of talk about that over the past 48 hours. There's news dropped last night. The Broncos assistant head coach and special teams guru, Mike Westhoff, has resigned from the Broncos due to health reasons. From my understanding of the situation, last week, midweek on Wednesday, he was in a meeting and had a little cloudy vision, and his eye got treated from the Broncos medical staff. Then it still bothered him a little bit, so this past Monday he got an MRI to get it checked out, and it came back that if he were to continue to be in long, stressful hours like the NFL requires, as you know more than anyone, Todd, that the vision problem could get worse. And he decided, look, I'm 76. I turn 77 in 2 months from now. I'm going to just retire now, resign right now, go back to retirement, because he was in retirement before Sean called him out. And so now he's going back to Florida now. So the Broncos will be without Mike Westhoff for the rest of this season going forward.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks. I mean, he's a good coach. But it's probably for the best because it's a stressful job, and he puts a lot of stress on himself. Like, he has energy, you know what I'm saying? He's yelling, he's vocal, he wants the team to do good. So I think he puts himself in a stressful situation. So I think your health is always first. Like we said with Tua, I mean, he's come back and everything's been solid right now. But I think health is always first. It should be. So I hope he, has a good retirement with his kids and puts his feet in the sand and, has a couple beers or something.
Hopefully the third retirement is one that sticks for him.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'll miss him. He's one of the best special teams coordinators ever. I also think that it was nice to have him for a year and a half, and because you had him for a year and a half, you've gained a lot of those benefits. Again, still helpful week to week for the scouting and those sorts of things, but you would imagine for the most part you're kind of set up in what you're doing for the rest of the year. So hopefully the impact isn't that big and he gets to enjoy retirement. The Broncos, I mean, even before before that one play, even in that game, the Broncos have made some good special teams plays. You think of Traymon Smith making the tackle like the 4-yard line, 1-1 in space. That's tough to do. And the Broncos have one of the 3 or 4 best special teams units in the NFL. And I think that's still true after Sunday. It makes it weird, but even without Westhoff, I think they'll be in good shape.
And he deserves all the credit in the world. I mean, the Broncos had arguably the worst special teams, not just the year before he got here, but for years before. They were flipping through special teams coordinators left and right. He comes in and immediately, last year they go from last in the league to top 10. Then this year they take another jump, obviously before Sunday's game. But one thing I want to make clear, because some people in the Twitter chat have mentioned this, he's going to be okay. His health is okay. This was more of a precautionary health thing. Even he tweeted out this morning. He is okay. It's just...
He tweets?
He tweets.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
He tweets a lot.
At 76 years old, he tweets almost 77. Yeah, you do. He's okay. So his health is by far the most important thing, of course, but he is okay. It's just precautionary. And he's a guy he's had cancer in the past before, so he knows how important his health is, and he just decided, man, I'd rather see for the rest of my life than coach the Broncos special teams for 2 more months.
Fair, yeah.
I think it's a really good point here. But man, it does, with how Sunday's game ended, you're like, man, do we want to lose him? Do we want to keep him? Like, we do want to keep him around. I'm sure Sean wanted to, because Broncos, he's done a great job turning him around. And now do you keep Alex Forsyth in as that guy? Do you switch him out with someone else? Is there technique that he needs to be coached up on? Like, that's a big question right now, because if Alex Forsyth's in there, the Atlanta Falcons, maybe not on the first field goal, but if there's ever a game-ending field goal and Alex Forsyth's in there, they're going to try to do the exact same thing.
Without a doubt. You got to switch somebody out, put a D lineman in there. It's rare for defensive guys to be on, like, field goal. But I think you should try, one of your bigger bodies, JFM, I don't know, somebody in there who can be a little bit more stout. What if that was like the straw that broke the camel's back and Mike's like, yeah, I'm out here. Yeah, I'm done with this.
That's enough.
That's enough.
I mean, how crazy is this for him? He's, as Henry said, one of the best special teams coordinators in the history of the NFL. Yep. You can just look back at stats. We broke it down, too, when the Broncos hired him, of how good of a hire it was. And probably his last play is going to be that one.
That sucks.
I mean, yeah, it does suck, but
luckily he's assistant head coach. He's not special teams coordinator or anything.
Right.
So we all know he spends a lot of time working with special teams, but that
wasn't me.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to just say no, it's somebody else. Especially
he'll think about it.
A guy like that who's going to be remembered as one of the best.
Now
50 years from now, people are going to look back and be like, oh yeah, assistant head coach.
To be fair, though, I mean, it was pretty clear, at least last year, and from my understanding, I mean, he was working full time this year too. Yeah. He was the assistant special teams coach, but in the special teams rankings, assistant head coach. Yeah, thank you. It went him, then special teams coordinator Ben Kutwika, then Chris Banjo, the assistant special teams coordinator. Like, they did this, and Sean even pointed to this earlier this year. When you have wealthy owners and you can hire whoever you want, there's no salary cap on the coaches that you can bring in. There's obviously a salary and the money that you spend on coaches. There's no salary cap there. So Sean admitted, when we bring in pass rush specialists, that's just a way for us to pluck another guy from a different team and give them an upgrade in title, but just have another coach in the outside linebackers room that can also go into the defensive line room. That's an advantage that we have with wealthy owners that are willing to spend money on this team. I think that's what Mike Westhoff was. He wasn't really sure if he wanted to be a full-time special teams coordinator. But hey, if they brought someone in to be the special teams coordinator, he'd be happy to come in and really be the boss of the special teams above him. So I'm curious to see how this unfolds over the next, not this week necessarily, although there is a question with the field goal unit, what's going to happen, but more so over the next 18 months, what happens?
They've got a good staff in place. Things are going well. I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. But he definitely was.
Oh, absolutely.
The special teams coach.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
But technically, he was not, which means, and when you look at the Mike Westhoff stats, This will not be there.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, you're right. Ben Kutwikas had a great 18 months as the Broncos special teams coordinator.
But he's a good coach too.
He
Same
is.
with
And
Banjo.
Banjo, yeah.
Like
They're
they'll be
set.
just fine.
Yeah.
And they do a lot, especially like everybody has a role, I think, like on the coaching staff. So even though he was there and kind of like running it, like everybody has a position. So like you talk about that gunner going down to make the tackle, that's all Chris Banjo. Like that's what he does. He works with like everybody has a role. So I don't think they're losing a big piece, but they are good coaches.
They've had Damari in there as a gunner too, which is interesting because I'm sure he's done it at some point, but I don't remember seeing it. But it seems like they've kind of been rotating through. I'm trying to remember who they had before it was Damari, because he was playing really well. I talked to Traymon about him. But point is, they've done a great job coaching all those guys up. Like even JL Skinner, what he's done. Like talking to Traymon, he's like, yeah, it's basically like having another gunner out there, even though he plays like more of a wing spot, just because he gets down the field so quickly. So they've got the talent. They figured out how to put guys in the right spot. Like the Broncos are investing in guys like Traymon Smith to make their special teams good. They're gonna be fine.
I mean, they even had Pat Surtain out there on a punt unit earlier this season, and I think because he wasn't used to it, he got a flag on that play, which was kind of crazy.
I think he might have been in for one of those late punts, maybe the last punt. I couldn't tell because
Don't put me in.
he was on the field so quickly after, like giving it was Traymon. It was the play Traymon made at the end. Pat was giving him high five so quickly that I was like, wait, was he on the field or he just get in there so quickly?
He does not need to be on no punt team.
No.
I know it's good for the team. It looks good to have your star players on punt, and everybody cares about special teams. I've seen it happen too often. Josie Jewell
True.
started for the Broncos, leader in tackles, goes on and tears his freaking pec, bicep, whatever, on special teams. That's
kickoff, yeah.
Special teams matters, guys. That's where I got my start, so I have a love for it. But after you are starting and you are making your way and you're a leader on the team, you don't need to play special teams anymore.
Especially
he was not out
this
there.
This would come from like Greg Penner if I'm Greg Penner. I just paid Pat how much money and how much is guaranteed? No, he's going to be our starting cornerback, especially on punt coverage like that, or punt, not coverage, but punt. There's two guys. It's gonna be 1 against 2 in those situations. Not putting Pat out there for that.
Not at all.
He was running down the field.
And clearly he wasn't used to
at
it.
the end.
It's too easy.
Like Pat, it's different if you're like lining a guy up in the trenches, or like kickoffs where there's more collisions. Like that's what got Josie. I think if you're just sending a guy running down the field, Pat's gonna be fine. I don't think there's a need to do it often, but if you're covering a punt in the fourth quarter, they throw it out there. I'm not gonna roast him for it.
If I was the head coach and you were my special teams coordinator and you had Pat out there for one play, you're gone.
Wow. And then all of a sudden they break a long punt return and I say,
Mike.
look, guess who you have right there?
Mike, you got to come back out of retirement for the third time.
Wow.
You can work part-time.
For sure.
Come play gunner instead of Pat.
Just zoom us. Just zoom us what we need to do.
Man, this has been quite the show. We've talked about Justin Simmons. That was the right decision. We've talked about the Atlanta Falcons offense, Atlanta Falcons defense. Anything you guys want to say about the Atlanta Falcons special teams? Because we've talked about everything with the Broncos special teams.
Younghoe Koo, right?
Yeah.
Is he still good? Is that still how we say his name?
Young Ho.
Younghoe Koo, baby.
Yeah. Oh, how'd you say it?
Younghoe.
Oh.
That's how you actually say it.
Oh.
Young
But they
Wake.
just write it the other way.
Phonetically, it's different.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes
Because
sense.
he's Korean. Korea say Korean.
Started
Yeah.
off with the Chargers, and he had like a miserable start to his career with them, so they cut him, and then has had a wonderful career with the Falcons now. So Chargers just continue to Charger. Now, we'll be back tomorrow with our final picks for the weekend, including will the Broncos win? Shout out to Baldy for joining us. Shout out to Todd. Shout out to Henry. Shout out to you here. And we'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m., DNVR Broncos Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.